I'm a Norse pagan, and this is Walking with the Old Gods. And it's been a while since I've made a video. It's been a few weeks. Actually, last week I made one on the for our solstice activities, and I really enjoy making these videos. And it's been awesome with my Instagram account and with some of the views that I have on my videos. When I really started making these, I'd never thought that I'd have over 100 views on some of my videos, and of course I know by YouTube standards that's not a lot, but still I'd only had originally intended on probably a few people watching these, and it just feels so good inside to know that I am connecting with other people. I live in a small town in southeast Ohio, and so it's literally a one-cop town, and that's why after being a solitary practitioner of Norse paganism and Ostru, I really felt the need to reach out and connect with other believers. And it was actually my shield maiden who started my Instagram account and helped me with this. She's an awesome person. I'm a very lucky man. Believe me, this is not a plug to watch my summer solstice video, but if you did watch it, and I'm 52 years old, I really don't care how I look, but I look pretty rough in that. And that's why it's been a while since I made a video. I've been sick. I've had what's called vestibular neuritis, and it's like a ear infection that goes in your ear and behind your eardrum, and it gets in the nerve. And imagine being at a carnival and riding that dizzy spinny ride, and you eventually want to get off of it, but it just never stops. And that's literally how I felt for about 2 weeks, and that's why it's been a long time since I made a video. I'm starting to feel a lot better, and that's why I wanted to do the video today on the 9 Noble Virtues of Perseverance, because this is something that I actually learned and had to practice myself with this sickness diagnosis I had, the vestibular neuritis. So I was pretty miserable, and it was really hard for some people to be around me. I remember on the solstice, if you're one of the few people that watched that video, when I was telling the story of Balder, it took me about three or four times to get through that. The dizziness made me confused, and I was getting frustrated and lost my temper a few times. And it really started making me think of some of the things that I've actually talked about of courage and confronting things that are adversities that affect us, the battles that we have today. And in the Havamal, in verse 15, of course, the Havamal is the words of Odin. The Havamal, verse 15, says, "Cautious and thoughtful should the ruler's son be, and bold in battle become. Glad and cheery should each man be until he meets his death." And I was definitely in a battle, because I just felt like I was constantly spinning, and I was definitely not very cheerful. So it made me think of that verse. And something else I wanted to touch on also, in our lore, the evil Giger, the evil Jotun, Galveig, came during the Gaulider, or the Golden Age, and this was the second age of events in our lore, when Oskar and Nimla were created and Heimdall arrived and brought the virtues to the people. And you can make a long. That's an awesome story. You can make several good videos on that. From the Asatru Edda, I wanted to read a few things about Galveig. Galveig was beautiful like Loki, and like him, she was adopted in Osgarthur as a hostage from Jotunheimr. During Jarl's reign, Galvig began to prepare for her activities in Midgarthur. Galvig Hathor and Hrosjolfr were of Hrimnir's race. Her father, Hrimnir Burgirmir, had grown weary from not being able to ravage the land of men. So she went to visit him, traveling down Bifrost to Niflheimr, where she saw him lying dormant. She said, "Stand up, father. I will incite a war in the world, whereby Othin and the other Gothar will suffer agony and anxiety. In the war I shall spew so much poison on the pure men and on the beasts of burden that they shall not live. I will kill their souls. I will torment the waters. I will torment the plants, torment Heimdallr's fire, torment all of creation." She boasted that she had created the Sather with which she could bring about her horrible plans. And from Galvig's Sather came the 9 vices that counter the 9 noble virtues brought to us by Heimdallr. And these vices are murder, perjury, adultery, sacrilege, greed, thievery, treason, slander, and cruelty. Also, Galvig brought disease, pestilence, with mice, with sickness. And that's what made me think of that when I was getting so frustrated because the dizzy spinny wouldn't stop and I just wasn't getting any better. And then when I looked up my diagnosis, when I researched it online, it got even scarier because you know, sometimes this doesn't go away. I mean, it's actually a disability qualifier, they actually do physical therapy to help you with it. So, and what was really amazing was like someone asked me one time, well, how can you do the solstice? You're sick. And I was like, people do Christmas when they're sick. It's a holiday we celebrate. I mean, you could be sick and get up for a little bit and visit with family and have a feast and bloat. But what was really amazing, I mean, I had felt terrible. I mean, it didn't stop for a week. For a week, it just spun. I couldn't do anything but either sleep or stare at the wall. Anything with motion, TV, video games, anything with motion, I couldn't do it. But after we bloated on the solstice, I had some relief for the first time, and we had friends over, my cousin and her boyfriend, and we actually started talking about starting a kindred together, which is something I've been really wanting to do, and it was a beautiful time, and I got some relief, and I prayed and I honored and I offered to Freya and to Air to help heal me and to give me strength and love to get through this, which goes with the 9 noble virtue of perseverance that I do want to talk about, is overcoming adversity. And like when I spoke on courage, when we have challenges in our life, we pray to our gods and our goddesses and offer to them, and they enable us to get through our challenges with strength, love, knowledge, courage. There's a real interesting saga that I ran across and bought the book. The one that I have is the Hrafnista sagas, and it's translated by Ben Wagner. And I'd really never heard of these sagas before. So I got this book and I read it. It's really, really good. It's made some notes here. What I'm going to talk about is the saga of Grim Shaggy Cheek, and or the Grim Saga Lothinkina. And these are the sagas of men of Hrafnista, and they're traditionally classified as Fornaldarsugur, or sagas of olden times. And Grim Shaggy Cheek was both big and strong, and he was the most warlike of men. And one of his cheeks, was like a birthmark, was overgrown with dark hair, and on that spot iron couldn't cut him. And Grim took over the farm in Hrafnista after his father Kettle Salmon, and he became wealthy and practically the sole ruler over all of Halagoland. And Harold, powerful Herser and Viken, and Gerhild, the daughter of King Solga, had a daughter named Lopthena, and she was the loveliest of all women. And Grim Shaggy Cheek and Lopthena were to be wed in the autumn. Now, 7 nights before this wedding, Lopthena disappeared, and Grim Shaggy Cheek went into 3 nights of mourning, and then a terrible famine came over Halagoland, and Grim Shaggy Cheek, and he left with 3 other men, and they sailed north along the coast of Finnmark to Gondvik. And there are several encounters and stories that they had. I'm going to skip over some of those just because this would be a really long video. You can make several really good videos on some of the encounters. But he fought a lot of trolls there. Encountered a lot of trolls on the beach. He fought a lot of trolls, a lot of adversity, a lot of bad weather. And one day, when the weather was good, Grim and his men walked along the beach, and they saw where a whale had washed up on the beach. And they began flensing the whale. And while they were doing that, they observed 12 men who began to walk up towards them. And they greeted them. One of these men was named Hreidr the Reckless. And they began to argue over who the well belonged to. And then they got into a long, bloody fight. The fight ensued, and everyone was killed. All of Grim Shaggy Cheek's men were killed. All of Hreidr the Reckless's men were killed, and except for Grim, and he had collapsed from both his wounds and exhaustion. While he was laying there, a hideous troll woman, remember he had been fighting trolls, and a hideous troll woman approached Grim and asked if he would accept life from her. And Grim replied that he could hardly do that, as hideous as she was. And Grim asked the troll woman her name, and she replied, Gerard Gondvik Bed. And she told Grim to make a decision to accept life from her. And Grim replied, everyone is greedy for life. I will choose to accept life from you. So then the troll woman, she picked Grim up and she ran with him into a cave. And she said, I want you to reward me for saving your life, so kiss me now. And if you don't kiss me, you will soon be dead. So Grim reluctantly kissed her, and surprisingly to Grim, she didn't seem that bad to his touch. The troll woman, she then asked Grim to lie next to her, and that she would heal him. And of course he didn't want to do this, as hideous as she was, as hideous as she looked, so reluctantly he did, and she bandaged all of his wounds. And he was surprised to see how, because her claws were like beaks, like talons, and he was surprised to see how soft-fingered they actually were. And they fell asleep together, and then Grim awoke the next morning, and beside him he saw, lying next to him, a beautiful woman. And it turned out that it was Lopthena, his betrothed. And he found out from her that her stepmother Grimhild had cursed her into being the ugliest troll for showing her defiance and disobedience. But speaking of perseverance and Grim Shaggy Cheek's will to live, he went against what a human emotion would be, where this troll woman was so hideous, where he kissed her. And if he'd been fighting trolls, he didn't even trust them. I mean, they were trying to kill him. And his perseverance, his will to live, the strength he had inside of him to stay alive, to continue to seek his betrothed, that perseverance kept him alive, and he found his betrothed. And with perseverance, as one of our 9 noble virtues, that's what we do as Norse pagans, as heathens, as Austruers, is when we come upon life's adversities, we pray to our gods and our goddesses to enable us with strength to overcome our challenges, to overcome us with knowledge and wisdom, to know how to handle and deal with our challenges, and to enable us with love to go into our challenges with love. And I guess that's about all I wanted to say for this video on perseverance, one of the 9 noble virtues. And again, I just want to thank you all so much for watching. I really appreciate everyone on Instagram that I've met with and connected with. It's been a beautiful experience. I want to thank you all for being there for me, and for the connection that we have, and for watching my videos. And I can't wait to make the next one, and we'll see you the next time. Thank you so much for watching.